Alright, so you dropped the EP called Girl Interrupted towards the end of 2019. You expressed so much emotions, you expressed self-love. Could you tell us what was the process of making that tape and who produced it?
So my engineer producer for that album was Track Majors, Timothy Moore. He has a studio out here in like East Austin. So my process for that, I really wasn't trying to make an album. I wasn't trying to make a project. Like I said, when I wrote the first song on there, One and Only, I did half of it when I was 17, and then I didn't go back to the studio until like a year later to finish it. And then I was like, okay, I've been writing, like, let me go ahead and record these songs too. And that was around the same time when I was like getting to know other people in the scene and seeing that they like figured out a way to put their music out there. And then I was also taking certain classes that like are literally like relevant to putting music out there, like on distribution sites and things like that. So it kind of just happened. Like I have always written songs and stuff, so I kind of just had them and I was like, let me just do something with them.
Yeah.
But as far as my process, do you mean like the writing process? Like how did I...
Yeah, like how long did it take you?
Overall, like once I really started like applying myself, I want to say it took about less than a year to like get everything recorded and out into the world. But as far as writing, my favorite thing to do is just like to come out to places like this, you know, like a peaceful spot in nature and just like smoke a blunt and just sometimes I sit in silence, sometimes I like to put on a beat and just like let myself write. And that's always a good way for me to write songs.
All right, so in the song Girl Interrupted, you talked about being diagnosed with leukemia at a young age. You even showed that on your cover art of your EP. Mm-hmm. If you could remember those days, what did those days feel like to you?
So I actually don't remember too much. I don't remember much of my life before I was like 7 years old. But I honestly think it's a blessing because our mind has a way of like blocking out trauma so that you're able to just move forward and not have that, like, you know, eating you up pretty much.
Yeah.
I do have like one or two like faint memories. My mom told me one time that like this is when I was like, because it was really bad. Like they didn't know if I was gonna make it, you know. Mm-hmm. And when you're on remission or when you're in chemotherapy and remission or whatever, it makes you sick. So everything you try to eat, like you basically throw it up, but you need your strength to fight it. So it's like contradicting. And my mom told me that I was like, at one point I was getting like sicker and sicker. And that one night I woke up and she said that I told her like, Mom, I'm ready to eat. Like I want to eat. I had a dream that an angel came and said like, you need to eat so you can get better. Yeah. And she said that after that, like I started having improvements. So that's actually why I have this angel right here. And this is my scar from when I had like, I think it was called like a catheter or something like that, where they like put fluids and medicine inside. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I got this sleeping angel. It's the angel that visited me, and now it's sleeping because it's like it can rest because it's done its job. And then another memory that I actually do remember was me like laying on a bed, and these 4 nurses came in, like held me down by my limbs, and they were like, you know, like we got to put this needle in your back, and they like stuck it in with no like anesthesia or nothing, and like they pulled out bone marrow from my spine. Mm-hmm. And like my mom told me, I remember she was just sitting there like just watching, and she couldn't help me, and I'm like screaming and shit. But after that, like, yeah, I was like, I couldn't walk for like a day, and she had to like carry me to the restroom, and like, you know, so it was, I know just from those little memories that I have, like I know it was a lot harder, and you know, probably a lot harder on me too than that. So I'm kind of glad I don't remember too much, because I don't know if I would be able to deal with that. I think everything just happened the way it was supposed to happen.
Okay. And what were some of the challenges you had to face growing up? Did you have to face any challenges?
So yeah, like, I mean, from the beginning of my life, you know, I didn't have a father. He left my mom when she was pregnant with me. So, you know, it was just me and her, single parent, and then, you know, obviously going through cancer and treatment and all that, and then finally into remission. and I still don't have a dad. You know, it's just my mom, and I got 3 other siblings. So yeah, you know, just poverty and like not having 2 parents. And then you know, once I did have another parent, he wasn't perfect. You know, my parents, I feel like they tried as much as they could, but they can only show me what they know, and they didn't have a good example. So it's like, you know, the cycle just continues. And then in like middle school, started getting bullied a lot. I had kind of issues with like self-harming a little bit, and like I couldn't talk to my parents about it. I didn't have any friends. Like my siblings were just out doing their own thing, so I felt alone a lot of my childhood. And then once I got into foster care, you know, that was like a different life for me pretty much. But after that, you know, I feel like things have really gotten a lot better for me.
Okay. So if there was someone right now that was or has been diagnosed with leukemia watching this, do you have like any words of encouragement to give them?
I would just say, don't let your situation like dictate how you live your life. You know, like I don't like to think of myself as a victim. I like to think of myself as a survivor. You know, and like, you know, every day that you're here, just cherish it. Do everything that scares you. Do everything that, you know, like you've always wanted to do, and just live your life.
All right, so you know, one of my favorite songs on the tape was True Love. I liked your vocals, the melodies, and not only that, just the words. What was your inspiration behind that song?
True Love. I remember writing this song. I was sitting in my apartment just like smoking and listening to the beat. And that song actually came pretty easy to me. I just started writing, and I think I wrote it within like a day or 2. What do you call it? I guess, excuse me, the song is about, you know, self-love, which is the true love, because that's your first, like, if you don't have that, you can't love anybody else. So I guess I struggled with like being confident and loving myself and being comfortable in my skin. So for me, that was like a venting poem, almost like me just saying like, why, like, put my heart up in a box, locked it away, drown my thoughts. Like, I don't want to even deal with my emotions, you know. I just want to shut it out and just be good. But it's like, it doesn't work like that. You have to deal with your problems. You have to deal with everything, you know. Love is patient, love is kind. It's not just gonna happen overnight. Self-love takes effort, energy. Like, you gotta go through the hard part to get to the true love at the end, where you're content with yourself and love yourself, you know, everything about yourself.
Okay, and like growing up without a father, in the beginning, would you say that affected like relationships that you had with men?
Sorry. So even when, you know, I had a father figure, he was kind of an asshole, you know. I have love for him, but it wasn't easy. And the way my mom is also, they kind of had a toxic relationship, low-key. So that was my example of love. So like for a long time, I was attracted to people who were like assholes to me, pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, my boyfriend now is like one of the first guys that actually like is patient with me and, you know, really kind to me and stuff. Understanding. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was fucking with a lot of people who were like not treating me well, and I didn't think much of myself. So I was like, this is it for me. But once, like I said, once I started loving myself and like realizing that the situations I was in and like the people I was fucking with, I was like, these people aren't like putting me first. So I put myself first, and I have better taste in men now. Yeah, I feel like self-love is really important, and I feel like before you try to get into another relationship with somebody, I feel like you do need to learn how to love yourself before putting somebody else before.
So my question to you, what's your thoughts on today's society's relationships versus like the 80s and 90s relationships like we used to see in movies?
So, you know, I'm a 2000s baby, so I wasn't really sure how relationships were back then. But from the movies I've seen and, you know, the songs I've heard, I feel like relationships were more like, I feel like a guy wasn't afraid to really, like, you know, like, court you. You know, like, he wasn't afraid to, you know, have that boombox outside your window and, like, surprise you with flowers. I feel like it was a lot more romantic back then. Not saying it can't be now, but I feel like now a lot of shit is for social media. So I feel like people are just trying to do something so they can post about it. Like, let me do this for her, but I'm gonna post about it so, you know, I can get attention for it or whatever. And even my boyfriend has low-key like got on my ass a little bit because he was like, you know, relationships aren't just posting each other and like, you know, just hanging out, and you know, you gotta like have communication and like you gotta like try to understand the other person's feelings. I feel like nowadays everybody wants to be like nonchalant and like, oh, I'm heartless and this and that, but it's like you can't expect a relationship to work if you're like, you know, doing social media shit, trying to be like hard for clout and shit like that. You know, you actually have to be vulnerable.
Do you feel like social media is playing a big part of relationships? You know, because a lot of females and a lot of male look at celebrity relationships, and you know, a lot of females look up to Cardi B saying she don't cook and she don't clean, but like, and a lot of girls is taking that.
She also gets cheated on and she stays, so you know, not to, you know, call her out, that's how she wants to live her life, but I do feel like a lot of people compare themselves to celebrities. And it's really dumb. Like, look at Danny Lay and DaBaby's relationship. Didn't she get him like 2 cars for his birthday or something?
Something like that. I don't
They're not
be
even
knowing.
together anymore. I feel like people just do shit for clout. Like, they're not meaningful with their intentions.
Yeah.
You know.
All right, and you know, going into your music, who would you say you make music for?
I want to say I try to make music for everybody. You know, everybody obviously isn't gonna fuck with my music, but my goal is to be able to make music for every genre. So my last album was R&B. This next one is gonna be like alternative R&B.
Okay.
And I have a Spanish song on there too. So I want to, you know, have a Latino audience. I mean, a Latino fan base. And you know, I guess for just like the stoner girl, like, I mean, it don't have to be girls, but I want my music to be like for women.
Yeah.
To empower women. You know? I don't want it to be like just us looking good for men. I want us to look good and feel good for ourselves. But yeah, I mean, I guess probably not kids, but I definitely want to make like some songs for kids, but I'll probably do that like under a different name just so they don't like look me up and then see some other songs about smoking weed and shit. But yeah, I wanna make music for everybody.
Put my heart up in a box, locked it away and drown my thoughts. All my haunts and fears, I shut them off.